So look up at the night sky tonight.
Right? Always a good place to start.
Yeah, well, I mean, we spent decades, aiming these massive radio dishes at the stars.
Just waiting for a signal.
Exactly, waiting for a signal because we're terrified that we might be completely alone out there in the dark.
It's a very human fear.
It is.
Yeah.
But what if we were literally looking in the wrong direction this entire time?
Oh, this is where it gets wild.
I mean, what if the reason we haven't found aliens out there is because they aren't waiting in the stars at all? According to the document we're looking at today, they're already here, like written
Yeah.
into the very DNA inside your body.
It's just a profoundly terrifying shift in perspective.
Totally.
You go from looking through a telescope to looking through a microscope, and you suddenly realize the unknown is already in the room with you.
We're literally inside you.
Right, it's inside your own cells.
Exactly. And that's exactly the paradigm-breaking reality we are unpacking today on this deep dive.
And we have quite the document to go through.
We do. We are diving into a top-secret Majestic 12 classified document. And the date on this file is incredibly recent. It's May 20, 2026.
Super recent.
It goes by the title The Quarantine Protocol, and the document ID is UNX 88809QP.
Authored by a Dr. Eris Thorne.
Right, who is listed as the lead geneticist for this special studies group. And I should mention, a lot of you listening probably first got hooked on this whole narrative through that incredible story by Loop Animation Studios.
Oh, yeah. The Loop Animation Studios piece it was stunning. It really brought the horror of this to life.
It really did. But our mission today is to look at the actual source text, to synthesize and really critically examine this staggering account.
Right, because it's officially categorized under first contact and genetic sovereignty.
Which sound like typical sci-fi terms, but
But you need to throw out every science fiction trope you've ever consumed.
seriously, forget all of them.
Yeah, there are no little green men stepping out of silver flying saucers here.
No shaking hands with the president.
Exactly. What this document presents is a chilling redefinition of what human biology actually is, and what our global technology represents to an intelligence that just operates on a scale vastly beyond our comprehension.
It fundamentally rewrites the human story. But before we even get to the terrifying final ultimatum,
And it is terrifying.
oh man, it really is. But before that, we have to establish the baseline. We need to understand the shocking truth about what human beings actually are, according to Dr. Thorne's report.
Right.
So, okay, let's unpack this. The introductory section is titled The Ancient Scaffolding. And it points out that for millennia, humanity has kind of romanticized the idea of visitors from the sky.
Right. We absolutely have. I mean, it's embedded in our oldest historical records.
Right, like the Sumerians.
Yeah, the document explicitly references the ancient Sumerians carving tablets about the Anunnaki.
Those beings who supposedly came from the heavens to shape mankind.
Exactly. And then you have medieval woodcuts showing strange shapes in the sky. Fast forward to blurry military radar anomalies from the Cold War.
We've always treated these things as isolated incidents, like tourists.
Right, like curious cosmic explorers just passing by our little blue planet to observe the local wildlife.
We thought we were the main characters of the universe, and they were just the audience.
But the document says that is a complete delusion.
A massive ego trip.
Yeah. They didn't just visit and leave. They were always here, woven right into the fabric of who we are.
And this is where the text hits incredibly hard. It claims that we were never visited out of cosmic benevolence.
No friendly space brothers helping us build fires.
Exactly. We weren't uplifted. We were engineered.
Engineered to serve a very specific, highly mechanical function.
And to understand this, Dr. Thorne's report points directly to our own DNA, right?
Yes. So, for decades, modern geneticists have looked at the human genome and been completely baffled.
Because of the junk DNA.
Exactly. Over 98% of it is non-coding. They literally labeled it junk DNA.
Which is crazy when you think about it.
Right. Mainstream science just assumed it was evolutionary debris, like leftovers from millions of years of random mutation.
Which, if you pause and really think about it, is incredibly arrogant of us.
It really is.
I mean, we look at a biological blueprint, we completely fail to understand 98% of it, and we just shrug and go, that's probably just trash.
Just sweep it under the rug.
Yeah. But it's not trash. It's like finding out that the junk files hidden deep in your laptop's operating system aren't just leftover garbage from an old software update.
They're the master code.
Exactly. They are the actual code running the entire machine. According to this document, that 98% is perfectly preserved, highly complex biological architecture.
We are part of a massive systemic genetic optimization campaign.
We are, quite literally, a biological supercomputer.
And that is the massive paradigm shift we have to grapple with here. Earth is a server farm.
And humanity is the hardware.
Right.
Okay, I have to push back on this a little bit because when I first read that, it completely broke my brain.
Oh, it's a lot to take in.
It is. How does flesh and blood, like wet biology, actually act as a computer?
It's a fair question.
I mean, I know my brain processes my own daily information, but a planetary supercomputer, what is the actual mechanism there? How does a biological body connect to a cosmic network?
Well, the document actually lays out the operational framework for this, and it revolves around quantum entanglement operating at a cellular level.
Quantum entanglement. Okay, so how does that work inside us?
So inside that 98% of junk DNA, there are these microscopic structures, and they act essentially as quantum antennae.
Antenna. Wow.
Yeah. Every single time a human brain fires a synapse, every time a neuron generates a tiny electrical impulse to form a thought or an emotion.
It broadcasts it.
Exactly. That specific biological frequency is entangled with a receiver.
Yeah.
You are acting as a localized node in a planetary network.
So it's kind of like distributed computing.
That's a great way to look at it.
Like those old internet programs where people would let their personal computers process data for, like, astronomical research while they slept.
Right. SETI at home or things like that.
No single computer knows the whole equation, but millions of them linked together form a supercomputer.
That is the perfect analogy. No single human being knows what the overarching calculation is. We are just living our lives.
Going to work, paying bills.
Right. But it's not just logic puzzles we're solving. Our collective emotions, our massive leaps in technological development, our brutal geopolitical conflicts.
They're all data.
They are. None of these are just history happening organically. They are variables. Massive, complex data variables being crunched and processed by this immense organic lattice.
So when we have a world war or a renaissance or a global pandemic,
Yeah.
to us, that is the defining triumph or tragedy of our generation. But to this network, that's just a complex simulation running a new set of parameters.
Precisely. We are processing existential variations for them. We are doing the math.
But wait, if Earth is just a massive server farm and we have been crunching numbers for them for hundreds of thousands of years,
Right.
what happens when the hardware starts to overheat? What happens when a localized node malfunctions?
Well,
Because you don't just leave a system that complex running in the dark without some kind of IT department or a cooling system.
and that logical gap right there is exactly how this document completely redefines the modern UFO phenomenon.
The UAPs.
Exactly. Unidentified anomalous phenomena. The document specifically calls out the famous encounters recorded by 20th and 21st century military sensors.
Like the Tic Tac crafts.
Yep, and the gimbal videos that the Navy captured.
Right. The ones that hover over the water, move with impossible physics-like, dropping thousands of feet in a second without a sonic boom.
And they just seem to observe our fighter jets.
Yeah, for years, the prevailing theory among enthusiasts was that these were scout ships, right? Aliens coming down to study us, maybe a little worried about our military capabilities.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture established in Dr. Thorne's text, those aren't scout ships.
No.
And they aren't piloted by curious biological beings. The document states they are unmanned, self-replicating autonomous drones.
Basically, Roombas for the planet.
Exactly. They serve as the system's cooling fans and diagnostics tools.
The document explicitly mentions where we always seem to find them, which suddenly makes terrifying sense.
Hovering near our nuclear facilities.
Yes, near weapons testing sites and over nuclear-powered aircraft carriers. And here's where I have to admit, humanity just has a massive, blinding ego.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because we've always looked at those incidents and thought, oh, they're hovering over our nukes because they want to save us from ourselves.
We thought they were benevolent cosmic guardians.
Yeah, making sure the toddlers don't play with matches.
It is a comforting thought, but the document strips that comfort away entirely.
It's so cold.
It is.
Yeah.
They do not intervene out of any moral alignment. They don't care about our spiritual well-being, our art, or our survival as a species.
Any more than you care about the emotional well-being of a copper wire inside your laptop.
Exactly. If humanity unleashes a nuclear holocaust and destroys the biosphere, the server crashes.
But surely destroying a nuclear facility to stop us would cause a massive radioactive explosion, right? Which would ruin the hardware anyway. How does hovering near them help?
Well, they aren't there to destroy the weapons, they're there to dampen them.
Oh, wow.
The document refers to it as preventing localized thermal runaway. The UAPs use localized gravitational fields to monitor and, if necessary, suppress fissile material.
That's insane.
If a component inside a computer catches fire, the system extinguishes it to save the motherboard, without destroying the computer itself. The UAPs are just fire extinguishers for the hardware.
It is just deeply, profoundly humbling.
Very much so.
But this raises a massive red flag in the narrative for me.
What's that?
Well, because for 300,000 years, or as the entities measure it, 300,000 orbits, this biological computer system has just been running quietly.
Doing its thing.
Right. We built pyramids, we fought wars, we invented the printing press, and they just passively collected the data from our quantum antenna.
Yeah.
So why, in the year 2026, are they suddenly stepping out of the shadows to have a direct conversation with a human geneticist? What changed?
Because the system is no longer running quietly, the hardware has become compromised.
And here is where it gets incredibly dark.
It really does.
The document outlines a terrifying scenario called the contact event. And this all takes place under the umbrella of something called Project Cleanroom.
Which is just a crazy setup.
We are talking 3 stories beneath the Nevada desert, a completely sterile, subterranean, electromagnetically shielded facility.
Yep.
And the physical conduit for this conversation isn't a radio dish or a computer screen. It is a human being.
Subject 7,
Right.
a former military pilot.
Yes, and the context of how Subject 7 got there is brutal. I mean, how does a human being get turned into a cosmic walkie-talkie?
It wasn't willing. The document says his dormant genetic code was forcibly unzipped during a close-range atmospheric interception with one of these UAPs.
Forcibly unzipped. That phrasing makes my skin crawl.
Right. The UAP essentially utilized a forced biological frequency to override his genetic firewalls. It blasted his nervous system with a resonant frequency that activated that 98% of dormant DNA all at once.
So he was, for all intents and purposes, hacked.
Completely hacked.
And the description of his physical state in that clean room is straight out of a nightmare.
The visual is horrifying.
He's lying completely rigid on a steel gurney. There's this rhythmic hum of a medical ventilator keeping his body oxygenated.
And his eyes.
Right. His eyes are wide open, but they're completely black. The pupils are dilated to the absolute margins, just absorbing all light.
And when he speaks, it's not just the pilot's voice.
Yep.
The transcript describes a chilling auditory duality. It's the physical, fleshy vocal cords of the human pushing air, but it's layered beneath a resonant synthetic tone.
A tone that seems to vibrate the very walls of the room.
Yeah. And Dr. Thorne, the geneticist, is terrified, but he's trying to establish some sort of diplomatic dialogue.
Right. He introduces himself. He states his titles.
And the entity immediately cuts him off.
Or shuts him down.
It says, "Labels are an inefficiency. We do not speak to the component, we speak to the collective."
And it introduces itself not as a king or a god or an explorer.
It calls itself the architect of the network.
And Thorne, to his credit, really tries to argue for humanity's inherent value.
He does. He is a scientist, but he's horrified by the implications.
He realizes that 8 billion people, all of our art, our history, our deep suffering, it's all just processing power to this architect.
Exactly.
I was reading this and cheering for Thorne, honestly, because he pushes back. He says, we are people. We have souls. We have Shakespeare. We have love and suffering. We aren't just calculators.
He gets emotional.
But the architect's response is one of the most chillingly logical things I've ever read.
It's the liver cell analogy.
Walk us through that, because it's wild.
So the architect tells Thorne that he is confusing function with malice. It says, a cell in a human liver does not comprehend the poetry the brain writes, yet its metabolic processing is vital to the body's survival.
See, I struggle to accept that. I mean, a liver cell doesn't paint the Sistine Chapel. A liver cell doesn't split the atom.
But you're looking at it from a human perspective.
I guess so.
To the architect, the Sistine Chapel isn't art. It is a highly efficient visual representation of resource management, hierarchy, and cultural data structuring.
That is so bleak.
We see a masterpiece. They see a beautifully organized spreadsheet of human behavior. The architect explains that our human wars perfectly modeled their resource distribution. Our plagues modeled their biological defenses.
So we are, in their words, a magnificent architecture.
But we are still just architecture.
Which brings up the latency issue. Because if we are such a magnificent, highly functioning architecture, Why the intervention now?
Right.
What did we do to warrant a sit-down in a bunker in Nevada?
It comes down to self-awareness. Or, in IT terms, active interference.
Active interference.
The architect points out the structural flaw that humanity has developed over the last century. We mapped our own genome. We discovered the junk DNA sequence.
We started poking around in the code.
Exactly. We realized, on a subconscious level, that we were being monitored. And more dangerously, we started splitting atoms and weaponizing quantum entanglement.
He started playing with the base code of the universe.
Yes. By becoming aware of our own operating system and by manipulating atomic structures, humanity transitioned from being passive computation to an active threat.
We introduced latency.
We introduce latency into the network because when we detonate nuclear weapons, the radiation doesn't just destroy cities.
No, it pollutes the physical hardware.
Right, the atmosphere and the Earth's magnetosphere, which scrambles the quantum entanglement frequencies.
We are essentially a background program that has suddenly become self-aware,
And we are now hogging all the CPU.
overheating the hard drive and corrupting the data.
That is exactly how the architect views us. We are approaching a threshold where our actions will permanently destroy the Earth's capacity to host the lattice.
So Dr. Thorne, hearing this, realizing that we are essentially viewed as a rogue malware program, he begs them.
It's a desperate plea.
He says, okay, if we're such a problem, just let us go. Sever the connection, wipe the junk DNA sequence from our blood, take away your cosmic algorithm, and just let us live our lives in the dark as regular biological humans.
We don't want to be a part of your server.
Right. Just let us be. And the response?
The response is a hollow, humorless laugh that echoes through the pilot's synthetic voice.
God, that visual.
And this is the crux of the horror in this document. The architect explains why severance is a biological and mathematical impossibility. That 98% junk DNA isn't just an app installed on our phone.
As the phone's operating system.
It is our foundational neural scaffolding.
Because if they delete the code?
The human nervous system loses its primary instruction set. Your heart wouldn't just stop. It would literally forget the concept of how to beat.
Forget how to beat.
Your lungs would forget how to expand. The autonomic nervous system is entirely interwoven with their architecture. The connection is absolute.
So to disconnect humanity is to delete humanity.
It is.
Which brings us to the actual reason the architect is talking to Thorne. It isn't to negotiate our freedom.
No.
It is to deliver an ultimatum. The architect reveals that a failsafe, something they call the quarantine protocol, has been compiled.
And it is currently idling in a lunar relay station.
Just waiting for the command to execute.
A protocol that acts essentially as a hard drive format.
Right. It wipes the current biological iteration of Earth and introduces a new, more compliant cellular archetype.
The architect calls it a quieter harvest.
And here is the detail that absolutely stopped my heart when I read it. The format takes roughly 4 minutes to execute globally.
4 minutes.
4 minutes to wipe all human life from the planet via a cascading quantum frequency that simply tells our DNA to stop functioning.
What's fascinating here, and obviously terrifying, is the sheer cold logic of the threat.
Yeah, there's no anger.
The architect isn't angry with Dr. Thorne. It doesn't hate humanity. As it tells him, you don't hate a computer when it crashes.
You don't hold malice toward a blue screen of death.
You simply reboot it.
It's just routine maintenance.
Exactly. But they're offering a patch, an alternative to the total overwrite.
The 300-day window.
Right. The architect gives Thorne a set of parameters to take back to the world leaders. It is a non-negotiable surrender.
And the terms are steep.
All nuclear fission and fusion capabilities across the globe must be permanently dismantled within 300 days.
Every reactor.
Every reactor, every warhead, and all space expansion programs must be permanently locked to low Earth orbit.
We have to surrender our most advanced technology, put ourselves in a planetary cage, never leave the atmosphere, never split the atom again.
To ensure the server remains stable and the hardware doesn't melt itself down.
And the penalty for refusal or even delay is the formatting tool.
We have exactly 300 days to prove to an alien IT department that our data is still worth saving.
I mean, can you even imagine the geopolitics of that?
It's impossible.
Trying to convince every nuclear-armed nation on Earth to simultaneously disarm in less than 10 months, based on the word of a possessed pilot in a bunker.
They never go for it.
It's a completely impossible task, and right after delivering that impossible ultimatum, the transmission just ends.
Yeah, the epilogue of the Majestic 12 document describes the immediate aftermath in that clean room.
It's so visceral.
The geometric data bursts on Thorne's monitor suddenly flatline. Subject 7, the pilot acting as the proxy. His body violently convulses. His head snaps backward.
And his eyes.
That terrifying, endless black dilation in his eyes instantly fades, shrinking back down to bloodshot, panicked human pupils.
He starts gasping violently for air, thrashing against the restraints. I mean, having just survived the physical trauma of being possessed by a planetary server network.
And Dr. Thorne is just left sitting there in his hazmat suit, paralyzed by the weight of what he just learned.
In absolute suffocating silence.
The only sound is his own breath fogging up his visor. Realizing that the observers are done observing, the experiment is over, and the countdown has started.
300 days. A ticking clock for a fractured, warring planet to somehow agree to dismantle its entire atomic infrastructure or face complete biological liquidation in 4 minutes.
It's a heavy burden.
So, what does this all mean for us? You look at human history, and we are so incredibly proud of ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
We write textbooks celebrating our scientific achievements, our space stations, our particle accelerators. But according to this document, humanity essentially triggered its own cosmic IT department to show up with a formatting tool.
Simply because we became a security risk to their network.
Exactly.
We thought we were ascending to the stars,
Right.
climbing the ladder of evolution, but we're actually just triggering an automated security protocol.
And I really want you, the listener, to think about this right now. If you're listening to this right now, 98% of the cells in your body are carrying this dormant architecture.
Think about that.
According to this Majestic 12 file, as you process these very words, as you feel that knot of anxiety in your stomach, your brain synapses are firing.
Acting as microscopic quantum antenna.
In that exact biological lattice, you are transmitting data to a lunar relay station right now as a countdown clock ticks down from 300 days.
It reframes absolutely everything, doesn't it?
It completely flips reality on its head.
And it leaves us with a profound, unsettling question to mull over, one that fundamentally challenges the core of our human pride.
What's that?
Well, we've always viewed our ability to split the atom, to unravel the genome, and to reach for the stars as the ultimate triumphs of the human intellect.
The pinnacle of our biological evolution.
Exactly. But if the quarantine protocol is real, what if our greatest leaps in progress weren't evolution at all? What if our proudest achievements were the exact actions of a biological computer virus, inadvertently triggering its own deletion?